Presidential aspirants continue consultation visits to delegates ahead of party primaries. NEMA makes public documents on this year's climate predictions and flood outlooks. Plus, we examine impact of political violence on electioneering process. These and more on Panorama today, reaching you live from NTA Benin Network Center. I am Obaseki Prasai. Welcome. The President of the Senate and one of the APC presidential aspirants, Ahmed Ibrahim Lawan, says Nigeria has witnessed unprecedented development under the administration of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in the last 7 years, through the implementation of people-oriented policies that require consolidation. He stated this while persuading the party's delegates for support in the forthcoming presidential primary election in Dutse, Jigawa State. Mohammed Askira has details. APC.
Senator Ahmed Lawan, while addressing APC party leaders, supporters and delegates in Dutse, Ahmed Lawan, when recounted his political journey and the sacrifice he made as lawmaker in his 23-year stay at the National Assembly for the unity and development of Nigerians, says APC has justified the confidence Nigerians repose on it under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari. One thing they said deserves another. Senator Ahmed Lawan therefore urges the state APC delegates to consider him while voting at the presidential primary to sustain the good work of President Muhammadu Buhari.
For us in APC, what matters is how we are able to continue to deliver services to the people of Nigeria. We have our models, we have our focus. The purpose of any government is to provide security and welfare.
Governor Badaru, represented by his deputy Umar Namadi, says Badaru and Ahmed Lawan are persons with the same thoughts, visions and patriotism who sacrifice their time, energy and resources for the development of the country.
You and he are the soul of Mr. President. You are the soul of the great brother, and you are loyal souls that are ready to take the instruction of their own father.
Earlier, the aspirants paid a royal homage on the Emir of Dutse, Dr. Nuhu Muhammad Sanusi, while the Emir wished him a success in the race. From Dutse, Muhammad Askira, NTA News.
The national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Iyorchia Ayu, is optimistic that the main opposition party wants a free and fair 2023 general election in line with the hope of other Nigerians. They stated this while playing host to a delegation of the European Union at the national headquarters of the party in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
The European Union delegation, led by Samuel Aisopi's visit to the leadership of the People's Democratic Party, is part of its mission on the Nigerian 2023 general elections. The overall interest in this interactive meeting is the growth of democracy in Nigeria.
In particular in view of the next elections, and I would like to reaffirm our support to Nigeria's democracy, and we continue to work together with all the institutions and with all the stakeholders that are involved.
As it is in the tradition of this party, we want our convention to be very transparent, to provide a fair and open field to everybody of all our 15 presidential aspirants.
The European Union has been a partner in giving strategic support towards deepening democratic tenets in Nigeria. Timothy Yusuf, NT News.
Members of political parties have commenced the process of electing candidates that will field in the next year's general elections. Internal democracy, a level playing field for all, are some signposts political actors believe will guarantee acceptable outcome of the process and put a stop to violence commonly associated with party primaries. Agatha Igwarojo has details.
Nigeria is on the verge of embracing another democratic governance, and one of the major processes required to actualize it has commenced already in one of the major political parties, while others follow in the coming days. In the past, thuggery, snatching of election materials, vote buying largely characterized primary election of political parties, but there has been significant changes in the last few elections.
There's a maturity now amongst the delegates, there's maturity amongst the aspirants, there's maturity amongst those who are participants in the political culture of this country.
Likely perpetrators of violence in primary elections are always present, as these actors believe that party leadership plays a vital role in ensuring peace all through the process.
Party leaders, they should control their followers. This politics should not be a do or die thing. If you don't get it this time, you will get it in future.
The leaders must ensure that the ground of the primaries, it's only the delegate that go there.
Must look at the corruption perspective. People believe that going to government is an investment where they can make the big money, and so despondency comes in.
Other institutions have roles to play.
The regulatory authorities have to have a stringent approach. When elections time are here and people are making huge transfers, huge withdrawals, follow them. What are they doing with that money? People that are to stem election violence, they know where they stay, they know their habits, they know where they go to. You track them.
The outcome of the primaries is believed to affect the party's performance in the main election to a large extent, and political watchers want delegates to place the interest of Nigeria and Nigerians first as they choose party candidates. In Benin, Agatha Igwarojo, NTA News.
To discuss more on this, we have here live in the studio with us Grace Osakwe, an educationist and social advocate. You're welcome, Ma, to Panorama.
Thank you very much.
And so how do you see the current political atmosphere around the political party's primary that is scheduled soon?
We are glad that primaries are being held because the process has to be as democratic as possible in order to avoid the violence that usually visits the electioneering process. So as much as possible, parties have to ensure that they are democratic in selecting the delegates who are going to be part of the primaries, and that the ground is a level playing ground for the candidates that do emerge as representatives of their parties. So that parties are having primaries is a welcome development, but it must be democratic for it to achieve the purpose for which it is there in our policies.
Okay, so do you foresee any situation that might affect the smooth conduct of the election that is scheduled for this week?
Usually you can't see it all. You can't say it all. Things happen right there at the moment. I can only say that if we are to avoid violence during the primaries, this is when the stage should be properly set. The venues should be open only to delegates, and all delegates must have access. The issue of selective voting we have had in the past in some primaries shouldn't arise. Everyone who is a delegate should be able to go in, and the issue of this bringing in talks and cultists, allowing them access to the venues shouldn't arise, because that does not bring about a level playing field. And I also believe that our youths this time are more conscious than previously of the fact that they are being excluded does not mean that they should allow themselves to become the weapons for bringing about violence in the electioneering process. So with all the awareness raising that has been done in an attempt to help the youth to see that they have other roles that they can play, I do hope that we will see during the primaries that the youth involvement won't be from the angle of being thugs and being cultists, destabilizing the process, but as delegates themselves and as people coming out to themselves become candidates for the election.
You talked about thugs and youths perpetrating violence. In your own opinion, is this the only cause of violence during election, pre-election? Is it the only cause of violence, or in your opinion, are there any other factor responsible for violence in an election process?
Yes, the non-inclusion of everybody. The violence comes about when there is lack of faith in the process. The political leaders themselves resort to it because they think that that is the only way to win. And then there has been impunity. Serious impunity. You commit violence, you kill, you do everything during elections and nothing happens to you. So the next election, more people will be there. And also people make money from it, as a result of which others are attracted to it. Also, non-inclusion of some sectors. For example, women and youths are not included in the process. For a long time, there has been cry for representation, at least 35% representation within party structures, which would naturally translate to their being included also when it comes to delegates and when it comes to candidates. But parties have paid a deaf ear to it. So the non-inclusiveness in party structures is a major reason for violence in the electionary process. It is time that parties should review their policies, not just policies as it relates to elections, review their policies, founding policies, to see that everyone is represented, because the country belongs to all of us. If people are excluded, they are going to become themselves object for destabilization.
Okay, so we are preparing for primaries now. So let's center now on primaries.
Yes.
What steps do you think should be taken to prevent violence, during primaries?
As you make your bed, so you lie on it. The parties have been deaf to suggestions, and now it's last minute fire brigade approach. Maybe at this point in time we call on law enforcement to take more action, at least to protect everyone who appears in, who is a delegate and who is a candidate in the arena. The law enforcement can no longer be blind and can no longer pretend that there is violence in such arena. We should be proactive. If we are able to be proactive and lives are secured in the process of the primaries, then we would have done something with the whatever it is that goes in there. At least we know that we have removed violence from the venues of the primaries that have become very, very rampant in the recent past. But like I said, in the long term, the best way to prevent violence is inclusiveness, proper education, yes. How enlightened are we about it? What seriousness have parties put into the enlightenment of even their own members to show violence of every sort? Violence is not only about killing. Anything that prevents you from having your voice in the process is also violence. So the violence can be within the party itself. It can be between the parties. So at this point in time, we are seeing it within the parties. And if it's not addressed, very soon it will be between the parties by the time all of them have their candidates from primary. So the ball is in the court of the parties, the ball is in the court of the law enforcement agents, and of course the government itself that puts in place these policies should not keep quiet when they are not being implemented according to how they should be.
Thank you very much. We've been discussing with Grace Osakwe, an educationist and social advocate, on election violence, its impact on the process. We'll take a break, but before we go, don't forget, you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at NTA NG Live and on YouTube at NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page at NTA Network News, Twitter handle at NTA News Now, and on Instagram at NTA Network for updates. Panorama. World leaders are converging on Bali, Indonesia, for the 7th Global Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction at the instance of the United Nations. The Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, is among global broadcast organizations providing syndicated coverage for the GP 2022. Onengie Fineface reports.
Indonesia is a disaster-prone country that has built resilience against hazards and fits in many ways as an example for disaster risk reduction. Bali, Indonesia, a tourist city, is playing host to the 7th Global Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction. The focus is to move from risk to resilience towards a sustainable development for all in a COVID-19 transformed world.
It's going to be 7 years since the Sendai framework was adopted in 2015. Next year is the midpoint. Are we achieving what we think we need to? I don't think so. We're not achieving the SDGs either. So we need to enhance our efforts, and this is also an opportunity to do that.
Authority. For the first time, the media from across the world will be relaying news from the UNDRR platform in Indonesia. Ceremonial raising of the Indonesian and United Nations flag marked the official commencement of the Global Platform 2022 event in Indonesia. From the Nusa Dua, Bali, Onengie Fineface, NTNews.
Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwumas Charles Soludo has placed a 10 million naira reward on the killers of the member representing Aguta 2 constituency in the Anambra State Assembly, Okechukwu Okoye, and his aide Cyril Chiegbuka. Both Okoye and Cyril Chiegbuka were kidnapped on the 15th of May 2022. The lawmaker's head was mounted at Chisco Park in Amechi community yesterday. Meanwhile, the state governor has condemned the gruesome murder. Troops of the 34 Brigade Nigerian Army, in conjunction with operatives of the Department of State Security, have dislodged a training camp of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, and its armed wing, Eastern Security Network, ESN, at Okporo in Olu local government area of Imo State. A statement by the Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Wanchukwu, indicates that the troops dislodged the training camp Friday, May 20, 2022, after exchange of fire with distance, resulting in the neutralization of 2 notorious members of the group who have been on the wanted list of security agencies as those terrorizing residents in the general area of Olu, Osu, and Jaba. The troops equally destroyed the training shed and other facilities used by the separatists, including a shrine which members of the outlawed group reportedly used for spiritual fortification. According to the statement, a local factory used for fabricating weapons was also discovered and destroyed. Items recovered from the factory are 3 Ding guns, 1 locally fabricated pistol, one live cartridge, 2 used shells of 7.62mm special, and objects suspected to be charms, among other dangerous weapons. And back here in Edo State, Governor Godwin Obaseki has commended the Nigerian Army for approving a forward operative base in Eho. This is just as he appreciated the wives of the officers for supporting their husbands. This was when he received them in Government House. Elizabeth Omoko reports.
There has been relative peace in Edo in recent times. This is against the high level of kidnapping that has characterized the oases of the state. Governor Obaseki says the latest development is as a result of a forward operative base at Eho.
Officially expressed our profound gratitude to the Nigerian Army through you, to your husband, for the immense support which he has continued to give to us in Edo State.
To the wife of the Chief of the Army Staff and President of the Association, Salamatu Farouk Yaya, who was in the state for a project inauguration, her visit will not be complete without paying homage to the state governor. She explains that the objective of NAOA is to sustain the legacy and tenet of unity in the Nigerian Army barracks.
It's coming on board. We've been training a lot of our members on leadership and sustainability. Right now, as I'm speaking, we have, I think, 6 of our members in Rwanda on a training on leadership and conflict management.
In another engagement, the governor received staff of the Bayelsa State Due Process Bureau who are on study tour of the Edo State e-procurement system and the agency. In Benin, Elizabeth Omoko, NTA News.
Luck ran out of 3 ritual suspects who came to Benin City with the intention to do money rituals. Good Luck NINE reports that the suspects who narrowly escaped mob action are now in the custody of the Edo State Police Command for further investigations.
Dostan Shalome Ogenemaro is 15 years old and hails from Okpe, Delta State. Divine Ogeide, 14 years, is from Orogun, also from Delta State, while Michael Chuku, 16 years, is from Port Harcourt. Their mission was to make fast money through rituals, and their preferred destination is Benin City. According to the suspects, they were attracted by the signpost of the Oguname Center at Uwa Street by TV Road in Benin City. At this point, the chief priest, whose activities forbid anything money ritual, became apprehensive, suspecting that it could be a setup. He then cajoled the suspects by making them believe that their mission was possible while he alerted the police.
As we enter inside, now see me sit down. Now you sense they call people. So I bring them come. When they come see what thing I experienced for my house today. We never see this kind of thing for our life before. This time I don't tie them down. But this way I tie them down, make them not wrong.
The suspects, who are student apprentices in carpentry and metal fabrication, narrated their levels of involvement.
I said I won't use my sister because now they tell me say they want to do ritual. What made him to come here? He said it's money ritual that he wants to use his sister. That he have the mind, he can use this thing, his penis. They now ask this guy say he can use his penis. They now ask me, I say I cannot.
They have been handed over to the police for further investigations to unravel the circumstances behind their decisions. In Benin, Good Luck NINE, NTA News.
And now for sports update, let's join Clement Oloruntoba.